Cleveland, what is up? I'm going to stop that real quick. We're not going to go any further with that. Welcome in to Orange and Brown 365, live here on Spreaker.com. You can also find me on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I will put that out later at YouTube.com. We'll just do it now. Why not? YouTube.com/OAB365. Want to join in the show? Hit me up on Twitter at SomervilleCLE. That's SOMERVILLECLE. Or hit us up on the email at OAB365@gmail.com. Once again, this is Orange and Brown 365, episode number 9 here on Spreaker. I am your host, as always, Jeremy Somerville, the self-proclaimed Seatown sports guru. Got a lot to talk about today. Haven't been on since last Thursday. It's been a few days. Took a nice long weekend. Talking Browns football, as always, and we're going to talk quarterbacks, as we seem to do every single day. But first, want to get into the Terrell Pryor situation. Talking about Terrell Pryor, there were reports last week that the two teams had come together, his people and the Browns people, including Sashi Brown, had come together to start talking contract extension in hopes that the Browns would not have to use a franchise tag on him. However, from what I have heard, which is a couple people that I talked to within the organization, obviously I'm not a bigwig or anything. I don't have that many sources. But I do talk to a few people, and the sense that I'm getting is that the fact that Pryor and his people want a little bit more money than the Browns are willing to offer currently. Now, does that mean that a deal will not get done and he'll go into free agency? No, I don't believe so. I do think that the Browns will franchise him if something doesn't get done, so that they have a chance to really get into how much he's really worth and get his people to come down maybe, or the Browns will come up to figure out exactly what the number is. Now, the contract number I would look for is something a little more than what Marvin Jones got last year. Marvin Jones signed with the Lions, is basically a number 2 receiver, got paid pretty well. 5 years, $40 million is, I believe, the number he got. That's, I would guess, a little lower than what Pryor is worth right now. I'd look at Pryor maybe 5 years, 45 to 50 million. Could totally see that as a deal with 27 years old. Get him a deal to get him till he's 32, or maybe they shorten the deal and give him another chance at getting a deal in his prime and extending his career a little more. Now, what'll actually happen, it's hard to say, but that's the way I see it right now. Sorry if I'm slurring through this, trying to figure this out as I'm putting it together really quickly as I'm waiting for my kids to get out of school today. Once again, you want to send anything in on the show, hit me up on Twitter at SomervilleCLE. That's SOMERVILLECLE, or on email, OAB365@gmail.com. Next week, we will have the Combine, which hopefully I will be headed down to Indianapolis around this time next week. Be headed into Indy to watch college players from all over the country show off their skills for the NFL. See how athletic they are, see how tall they actually are. And that is when we are going to move in right now to quarterbacks. A lot of talk about the quarterbacks coming up here at the Combine. Deshaun Watson came out yesterday and said he will be competing in every single drill at the Combine, which is a great thing to hear. I'd like to see what he can do. Deshaun, I will have a player profile up on orangeandbrown365.com tonight on Deshaun. Watching a lot of him. He's been growing on me more so than I thought he would. Will say this, that the interceptions that you have seen from this guy, 17 interceptions over the past couple years, don't let him bother you so much. I'd say maybe half or less are really his fault. I mean, he tries to throw the ball into a tight window on a couple of them. He misreads the defense on a few, and those are his fault. But for the most part, give the guy more of a break than what he's gotten on that. Don't read into that. And remember, Jameis Winston threw a ton of interceptions his years in college. And you know what he did? He came out and was the first overall pick, and he's been a pretty solid quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Interceptions happen for a number of reasons. Don't look just into that. Already up on the site, though, I have Mitch Trubisky from North Carolina. I have a player profile up on him. And Pat Mahomes out of Texas Tech. Now, Trubisky is the guy I want to talk about today. There is a lot of talk coming out, and I've been saying this for a few months now, that the Browns would choose Trubisky over any quarterback in this draft. I said it a couple months ago that I believe he is the most likely to be selected by the Browns because he is the most accurate. He also fits the kind of guy that Hugh Jackson wants. Kind of in that Andy Dalton mode, but I think he can be better than Dalton. Now, when it comes down to where Trubisky's going to go in this draft, I think a lot of it's going to depend exactly on how tall he is. Will he come in at the 6'3" that he's listed at, or will he be closer to 6'1.5", maybe just a hair under 6'2"? That is the key to where he will go. If he comes in at 6'3" and 220 pounds, there is a possibility that he could be a top 5 pick and maybe even go number 1. And before I even get the hate of why would the Browns take him at number 1, listen, if he's good enough to go number 2, as many people have said, I could totally see him going number 2 to the San Francisco 49ers, then he's definitely good enough to go number 1, especially on a team that doesn't have a quarterback. And all these other teams, if you see him going to Chicago at 3, every other team is getting the benefit of the doubt and taking a quarterback high. Meanwhile, the Browns will get absolute hate and fear, just pure fury over taking him instead of Myles Garrett. Now listen, Myles Garrett is the best option at number 1, as far as a guy who's going to come in and most likely be a star. Trubisky still needs work. But if you believe that this guy can be a franchise quarterback, there is no spot too high to take him. I think Trubisky can be a very, very good quarterback. At least top 15. Now, will he be in the top 10 or be in that 10 to 15 range? That's hard to say right now. But I will tell you this about the kid. No other quarterback in this draft will work as hard or be as football-driven as Mitch Trubisky will, in my opinion. I think Deshaun Watson wants to be good, and I think he has a very good chance to be. Pat Mahomes has all the talent in the world. But he's going to take a little bit of time before he can really be as good as his skills will eventually show. Or he'll flame out. And Deshaun Kaiser, a guy who's 6'4", 230, 240, maybe. He has arm talent. He has everything, but he's never put the package together in college. And even he's going to take a little bit of time. The guy with the closest NFL game right now to me is Trubisky. He's accurate. He reads defenses. He scans to his third, fourth option. He throws a solid deep ball. Even better, this is the reason I think he may even be a better option than Jimmy Garoppolo. Because Garoppolo on the deep ball struggles. But of course, Garoppolo's been in the league and knows what to expect and has played in an NFL offense. But if the Browns decide to take Trubisky or Watson or Kaiser or anyone at number 1 other than Myles Garrett, I've even seen drafts where they'll take Jamal Adams, from the safety from LSU. We have to give this team the benefit of the doubt as we would any other team. The Niners are going to take him, Trubisky number 2. Okay, they need a quarterback. We understand. Why not give that same benefit of the doubt to the Cleveland Browns? Obviously, this franchise has been absolutely awful. Probably the worst franchise in the entire NFL over the past 17 years. And yes, they've blown draft pick after draft pick and free agencies. They've let people go. They've signed terrible players to good deals. But we have to remember those were other regimes. What Sashi Brown did last year in the trades he's made, where he's got a 6th-round pick for Justin Gilbert who you're going to cut. Obviously, a 6th-round pick, not that big of a deal. Remember, Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. Anything can happen. He traded Andy Lee to the Carolina Panthers for a 2018 4th-round pick. And then signed a guy in Dustin Colquitt who was even better than Andy Lee. Traded Barkevious Mingo away for a 5th-round pick. The trades he's made so far have all come out to look pretty damn good for Sashi. So if they determine that without a shadow of a doubt that they have no shot at getting a quarterback at number 12, if they don't trade for Garoppolo, or they don't sign Tyrod Taylor as a bridge quarterback, if they believe that there is no shot at getting the guy you want at 12, and you have to take a quarterback at 1 if you're going to get him, then that is exactly what they will do, and that is what they have to do, and we have to at least give them the benefit of the doubt on that. Because while quarterback is the weakest spot in this draft outside of maybe the outside offensive tackle, the deepest spot outside of cornerback will be the edge rusher. Derek Barnett, Takaris McKinley, Guys like that can probably be found at 12. Maybe Solomon Thomas drops, and you can play him at end or inside. Quarterback, different story. If you believe that Trubisky is heads above Watson and Kaiser and Mahomes and Webb and Kaya, then you take him. Now, I am still a Myles Garrett fan, thinking Myles Garrett is the best choice at 1, because I think he is the surefire superstar at some point in his career. But I am not going to hate on the Cleveland Browns if they decide overall number 1 pick should be a quarterback, because quarterback is not deep, and you're not going to win in this league if you don't have a quarterback, as we have seen for the past 17 years. 18 years now, almost. Since Tim Couch, the Cleveland Browns have not taken a quarterback above slot 22 in the NFL draft. They've taken Brandon Weeden, Brady Quinn, and Johnny Manziel in the first round at 22. There's a reason those guys fell to that spot. I want to thank you all for listening. Remember, as always, you can find me here on Spreaker. Check out my new website, please, orangeandbrown365.com. Thank you for listening. Hit me up on Twitter at SomervilleCLE. Email the show, oab365@gmail.com. Thank you again for listening. Remember, as always, if you live the life you love, you'll love the life you live. Good night, kids.